The list began after her first attempt. A list of everything brilliant about the world. Number 1, ice cream. 2, the color yellow. 3, people falling over. All things that at 7 I thought were really cool. And my only experience of death was that of my dog, Sherlock Bones. He was really sick, and so the vet came around to put him down. Actually, would you mind playing the vet? It's just that you have this immediate veterinary quality to you. Awesome. Okay, you're going to play the vet. I'm going to play me as a 7-year-old. And this is Sherlock Bones. Okay, now what I want you to do is inject Sherlock in the thigh. The thigh. Now, one hard and fast rule about euthanizing a child's pet, and that is you mustn't laugh while doing it. Totally changes the tone of the situation. And that was my experience of death. A loved one becoming an object and then being taken away forever. Thank you. MIT researcher Rob Morris developed an app called Coco, which uses crowdsourcing to combat depression. Coco allows users to post their negative thoughts or feelings and receive responses from other users on how to positively reframe those thoughts, a process known as cognitive reappraisal. Playwright Duncan Macmillan's work functions similarly, using personal testimony and audience interaction as a means of immediate cognitive reappraisal, crowdsourced through performance. If you continue to play along, Macmillan's work reminds us, connections can be uncomfortable, but they are also transformative. Life is definitely worth living. Sometimes it just takes another person to remind you. Every Brilliant Thing by Duncan Macmillan. All the other kids had gone home a long time ago. Eventually, my dad pulls up. Normally, it's my mom. Actually, would you mind playing me as a 7-year-old? I'll play my father, and if you want, all you have to do is say the words, why, okay? Put on your seatbelt. Because I said so. Because your mother's in the hospital. Because she can't see anything worth living for. Actually, we just sat in silence. The only thing he said to me was, your mother's done something stupid. At the hospital, I sat next to this elderly couple. I don't know exactly when I got the idea for the list, but it was at that moment that I started writing it down. 8, juice. 9, chocolate. 10, kind old people who don't smell unusual. A few weeks went by and my mom still wasn't back, so they had me speak to my school counselor, Mrs. Patterson. Would you mind playing Mrs. Patterson? Great, okay. What'd she do? And it's kind of weird, but remember, it was the 80s and she got results. She would take off her sock, put it on her hand, and she'd speak to you through her little sock dog she called Moston. Now, Moston would ask all kinds of cool questions like, what's up? Not much. How about you, Moston? I'm okay. That was brilliant, by the way. 164. Moston, the sock dog. At my university, I mostly just sit in the library. That's where I locked eyes with the only other person that was there. His name was Sam. We would exchange books and discuss them over coffee. One day, Sam returned to me one of my favorite childhood books and said, "There's something really interesting in this book that I want you to read." So I opened the book and the list fell out. I had never told anyone else about my mom. I started getting really upset and I went to rip up the list when I noticed someone else's handwriting at the bottom. 1,000. Realizing that for the first time in your life, someone is occupying your every waking thought, and they feel familiar to you even though they're brand new. 1,001. Writing about yourself in the third person. Sam and I got married. The whole thing was beautiful. Everyone was there. Even our old vet. We didn't invite him, but he came. And then after the wedding, Sam and I both got jobs. We got a cat who peed on everything and then just ran away. We called her Margaret Scratcher. Then we both settled into a routine. We were tired. We argued about all kinds of things. We argued about starting a family. And then Sam suggested maybe you should speak to someone professionally. That made me really angry because I knew what depression was, and I knew that I was fine. And then Sam said, maybe you should start continuing on with the list. But I found it very difficult to start noticing new things in my life, and then Sam started to pack up his things, and then I watched Sam drive away. Sam left me a note in the cover of an album sleeve. It said, "I really love you, and when you're ready, we can try again." I didn't find the note for about 7 years. And I wasn't there for the last time either. This neighbor complained about some exhaust fumes, and they found a hose pipe through the driver's side window. My mom didn't write anything. She just left a pencil and a notepad on the passenger seat. I really needed to talk to somebody at this moment, so what I did next was probably one of the oddest things I've ever done in my entire life. "Hello, Mrs. Patterson? I was the girl with the list. I don't know if you remember me. Do you think I can talk to Moston right now?" "Hi, Moston. How are you?" "Well, I'm talking to a sock dog on the phone right now, so not great." "I am very sad." "Moston, I'm really sad and I don't know how to handle it." "Moston, I know that I was always able to talk to you, so have I always been this way?" "Was I ever happy?" "Thank you, Moston. Night." 999,999. I completed a task. 1,000,000. Taking a record out of the record sleeve and hearing the faint hiss and crackle as the needle touches the wax. Before listening and finally reading through those sleeve notes.